Hi, Tracy here with BibleJournalingMinistries.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how I turned a really ratty Bible into this very beautiful and yellow new beautiful cover. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here you see that I have this really old Bible, and I'm trying to remove all of that imitation leather from it. So I start off with some tape, hoping I could just rip it off with tape. It worked a little bit, but it didn't do a really good job. So I came in with a razor, didn't really like how that was working. So I grabbed a spatula that is usually used for my Cricut or Silhouette machine. I don't have a Cricut, but my Silhouette machine. And it's just a little metal spatula you can buy them at the Dollar Tree. So I just used that to kind of get it off. I didn't get all of it off, so I came in with a little tape to try to get a little more off. And, you know, I did an okay job. Was kind of not worried too much about it. And tried to pick up the rest of it or any remainders with a piece of tape. And then I wiped it with a kitchen towel to try to get any of the remainder off. Now, the Bible has a little bit of fuzz still on it, as you can see. And that's okay, because when we put our gesso on it, you won't even be able to see. It's more like a textured look to it, so it works really well. So I wouldn't worry too much about the fuzz that's left over. Otherwise, if you are worried about it, you can always get an electric kind of shaving tool to kind of get that fuzz off. But to me, it's fine, and it works as great as texture. So now I'm just applying some gesso. This is Dina Wakley's gesso. You'll see me come in with a scraper tool right here. There was a couple extra pieces that I missed of the imitation leather, and so I went ahead and scraped it off again with the tool, and then went over with a coat of gesso as well. So I do about 2 coats of white gesso. Again, this is the Dina Wakley gesso. Mine is like 5 years old, guys, so I'm just trying to use up my supplies. And here I come in with a smiley face in the yellow Dina Wakley acrylic paint as well. And I do 1 layer and then kind of let it dry, come back the next day, and do another layer. So here you see me doing that second layer. Again, Dina Wakley acrylic yellow is what I'm using. And again, I think it's like 5 years old, this paint. So let that dry, come back another day. So this is over quite a few days. I'm adding some more of the Dina Wakley acrylic paint here in the pink, the teal, and the purple. And I don't have any acrylic white in the Dina Wakley, so I just use some of my golden acrylic paint, and that is in the titanium white as well. I use a small round brush to basically mark C's. The way I create my flowers is I just make a bunch of C's, like the letter C, until I get a rosette that I like. It's really an easy method, and you could do it. I do it really until I'm happy with my flower. So I'll continue to layer and layer and layer and layer and go over it until I'm happy with my flower. So sometimes I know we can be doing some painting and be a little frustrated with it. Don't give up. Just keep on trying, guys. You can do this. This is very easy stuff. I come in and I try to do a green flower. I didn't like the green against the yellow, and it really wasn't a good idea. I should have came in with the gesso first or some white paint first and then layered my color on top of it. But at this point, I'm starting to paint these leaves and it reminds me of a sunflower, so I'm not happy with it. So I dab a little water on my paintbrush, and then I take a wipey and try to wipe off any of the acrylic paint that's still wet. So that's what I'm doing right now, as I wasn't happy with it. So just adding a little water with a paintbrush and wiping it with my wipey, basically wipey, and that's what I'm doing. And then I add another coat of yellow just to kind of cover up any of that mistake. So whenever you're painting, don't worry, paint always covers up more paint. If you don't like what you're doing, you can always add more gesso, more white gesso to it, and then go ahead and paint over it. So don't give up, guys. Keep trying. You can do this. If I can do it, you certainly can as well. So at this point, I'm just letting it dry for a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with some white paint, and we're going to go ahead and paint those leaves and get them to pop out. But I do let it dry for just a little bit. And then I start adding the white to the background, which is what I should have did to start with. And so my leaves, they're really, again, just ovals with pointy tips, essentially. That's how I make my leaves. No big deal, guys. And obviously I thought I needed to add another coat here while the white leaves are drying. I think I was just looking for something to do at this point. I was like, my white needs to dry a little bit more, so I'm just going to paint the other side of the Bible, because that's what I do sometimes. You're getting this process video of just general life here. This is not a tutorial. This is me just sharing how I paint. It's all kinds of fun. So you see I put a second coat there of that white titanium. And then I'm looking at my flower. I'm just not happy with it. So I'm going to come back in with a little more pink and purple and just kind of see if I can't get that flower a little bit happier. My purple was starting to dry out, so I added a little bit of acrylic medium to that, and that just helped it to kind of loosen up a little bit. All right, so now I'm coming back in with my teal Dana Wakley acrylic paint. Again, these paints are about 5 years old. I've had them for a long time, and it's time to use them up. So I'm trying to use up my supplies. I encourage you to do the same thing as well. I come up with a little bit of white just to kind of lighten up that the middle of that leaf. I just wanted to have a little bit lighter there. So this in my hand right now is a Posca pen. It's one of my favorite tools. It's an acrylic paint pen. And I put it back down because I wanted to add a little more highlights with my white acrylic paint. But you'll see me come back in with that Posca pen in just a minute. Then I came in with a charcoal pencil here, and I'm writing the word Holy Bible. And I like to do the charcoal pencil because then I know what it looks like before I apply my acrylic paint. So then I come in with my Posca pen. This is a Posca pen acrylic paint. It is in the black and it's a size 3M. And then I'm just writing in the words Holy Bible. Now notice that I put some paper down over my flower. And the reason why I did that was because I didn't want to get any paint, just in case it wasn't completely dry on my hands. I didn't mind smudging it, but I did mind getting it on my hands. So now I'm outlining with my Posca pen, and I just think that really popped out that flower. I just really love it. So at that point, I thought, well, maybe I'm done. I put the Bible down for a little bit, and I'm like, no, I'm not done. I got to add a little more. So I went ahead and added some white paint here, little white dots, and I could be done with that. You see me putting those white dots along the leaves. I just thought that made it look so much better. And then I took my purple paint and started putting my purple paint over the white dots. And by doing that, that allows that purple to really look like purple instead of a mixture of yellow and purple. Add a little more paint to my palette here. By the way, that palette is just the backing of some contact paper. So don't ever throw that stuff away because it works great as a backing and it works great to cover your desks. So you can always reuse those, what you think might be garbage. So I just reuse it. I keep it in rolls and just use it, and then eventually I can just throw it away. So here I'm just adding the teal, and then I'll come in and add a little bit of the pink as well. This is a very simple and easy design, but I do love it. You can see me come in with my Posca pen, just adding a little more dots. It's just the details that matter, I think. So here I'll come in and add some more white, like flourishes here, that I think are just that extra special thing that will just help this come along. And I'm so happy. And I'll do this until I'm satisfied. And that would be just about now. So this is the final. I did decide to add some high gloss to it. So I grabbed some Liquitex varnish in the high gloss. You have to make sure your Bible's dry before you add it. And I waited a little bit. So I came back like the next day and I did the varnish here on that page. You can see how super shiny that Bible is now, isn't it? Super shiny. You'll see it here in a minute when I move it a little bit. But I'm applying it with a makeup sponge, and that's the same, not the same sponge, but the same type of sponge I used to apply the gesso earlier that you saw. So I usually will use a makeup sponge if I can, because it just makes cleanup a lot easier. I don't have to go wash a paintbrush. I'll just use a makeup sponge. I'll let it dry on the sponge after it's done, and then I'll just chop off that piece and continue to use the sponge. So I'm adding a couple layers here of that varnish. It's again, Liquitex high gloss varnish. And I just think it makes it look so pretty. I just absolutely love the finished effect on this Bible. So here it is. I hope that you've enjoyed this process video and that gave you some inspiration, encouraged you. You can do this in your Bible, and I look forward to seeing everything that you do. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.